ever had any other options on your mind?
Yeah, I looked at there were some other ACC schools and some Virginia schools, but there's just something about Clemson that was just different. So.
How excited are you to go down to Columbia tomorrow night and face off against the in-state rival?
Yeah, I've never actually been a part of a rivalry game. Being homeschooled, I didn't have that opportunity, and then in travel ball, you don't really get a part of that. So I'm definitely excited to see what a rivalry game's like.
To see from getting recruited when there wasn't even a stadium to now being here and having all this success, what's it been like the last few years?
I remember on my unofficial taking a picture in the open field that was now where the field is, and so it's crazy, but it's also, with having somebody like Coach Rittman and the coaching staff that he's put together and the talent that he's been able to recruit, it's not something that's very surprising for us because we see what we can do on a daily basis and in scrimmages. So it's definitely something that it's nice to see that we're now getting the recognition for, but it's not surprising for us internally.
Now, 2 no-hitters, and I know you don't like to talk about your own stats, but very, very impressive week for you last week. What was it like for you to see your teammates support you in the way that they have? Because I know you don't want to talk about you pitching, but how they've really embraced the way that you've been successful.
It's a lot easier to do what I can do when I know that I have their support through, run support and defensive, in that 4th game against Boston College, if Cammy and Anzi had made those plays, it wouldn't have been a no-hitter. And so knowing that I can maybe miss my spot a little bit and they still have my back makes it a lot easier for me to go out and just focus on doing what I'm doing.
You guys have been ranked nationally in fielding percentage. How big of a help for you is that in the circle to know that you're freed up to allow a few ground balls and that kind of thing, and your infield and outfield are going to back you up?
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. I don't have to stress out about making the perfect pitch every single time, because I know that if I give up a hit, or even if I give up a hit, that throw Mackenzie had in the outfield to save the run, even if it is a hit, it's not just them saving hits, it's just them making great plays behind me.
And are you going to be able to take a step back at some point? Maybe not during the season, but after the season, and kind of look back and say, wow, I had a pretty good year.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I can't, go back and look at stats or really focus much on what I've been doing throughout the year, because I have to stay focused on, what improvements I need to be making throughout the week or what things I really need to be focusing on. So it's not something I can really go back and look at. So maybe after the season's over, yeah. But for now, it's kind of just, we have 2 more conference series and then, South Carolina, and then going into postseason, so that's really the focus.
Have you had a preference between being in the circle and being in the batter's box this season?
Not really. That's a question that I've never really known how to answer. I definitely prefer pitching over playing outfield. I love playing outfield, but pitching is just so much more of a competitive thing, and it's me versus you, and I don't want to let you win. So I definitely like pitching more than outfield, but between hitting and pitching, I've never really been able to figure out which one I like better.
You said you had to work on things after 2 no-hitters. What did you look at and say, I need to do this better?
Not necessarily with the no-hitters. I feel like I did better this past week getting ahead of batters and not going into as many deep counts, but it's more hitting for me. I think that, just staying relaxed and not overthinking things in the box is the big thing for me.
Does your pitching style change with your venue? Like here, we've been talking about the wind and things here. How do you look at pitching at home as opposed to pitching somewhere on the road?
It's not really that much different. You kind of have to adapt to the different mounds and, playing surfaces, but it's, most of the fields we play at are already really nice facilities because of, being in the ACC and just having the resources, so that's not really much of a factor.
How much have your teammates been able, like Ansley, to explain to you the big nature of this rivalry? Because, like you said, you haven't really experienced a rivalry before.
I think you look at football and baseball and you can kind of figure it out a little bit, but definitely you have the kids like Ansley and Bailey who've lived in South Carolina their whole life and have grown up Clemson fans and really know that rivalry. So they definitely let you in on what it means to them, especially.
Did anyone grow up a South Carolina fan in your dugout?
I don't think so.
They wouldn't admit it.
Yeah,
probably not.
Well, I once was, not anymore.
Any other questions for Val?
Has your off-the-field life and your day-to-day life off the field changed at all? And now that you're getting, this recognition for, the no-hitters and being able to race?
Not really. Especially for us, just, coming to practice and doing school, it's kind of what you have time for, and especially with COVID, trying not to go out and, expose yourself to unnecessary, it hasn't really changed much.
Anything else? Thanks, everybody.